Well, this is no different from the season of the Fan of the Flyers video than the last time. So it's it's the same goddamn thing as the last video I did. Pathetic team for the Flyers. That's what I gotta say. And I knew damn right well that the Flyers were going to lose to the Buffalo Sabres. And Alex Lyon, which I like, who gave up 3 frickin' goals in the first period. The game was already over. The Flyers are too inconsistent. Okay, they're too inconsistent. And I told you about Ron Hextall. He's such a candy ass. Okay. I mean, how many freaking times do I have to tell you to fire Dave Hakstol? Okay, he brought us to the first round of the playoffs and he didn't do a damn thing. Okay. I mean, as a Flyers fan, I'm telling you, okay? Okay, I'm telling you as a Flyers fan to fire Dave Hakstall's ass, okay? Okay, he sucks as a head coach, okay? When you see him out there behind the bench, he looks like the Walking Dead, okay? He looks like he's lost in the sauce here. But even though the Flyers won, even though the Flyers beat the Rangers 4-0, I was glad to see. Anytime the Flyers beat the Rangers, I'm happy. But you know what? I wasn't going to fall. I wasn't going to fall into a trap. You know why? Because the Flyers got their asses handed to them last night to the fucking Toronto Maple Leafs. They get shut out 6-0. It's a good thing I didn't watch a Flyers game last night because I was at the Phantoms game. I was at the Phantoms game last night with Mighty Fan. The Phantoms started out good. They started out good. The Phantoms were up like 3-2, and then they blew it 6-3. And what was Claude Giroux or Wayne Simmons or Sean Couturier doing last night on the ice at the Air Canada Center? Were they twiddling their thumbs? That's what I want to know. And Kyle Pickard as a goaltender, what the hell was he doing? Was he playing with his dick while he was on the ice? I mean, excuse me for saying so. I mean, excuse me for saying that, but the Flyers are a Jekyll and Hyde team. They couldn't even frickin' score in the game. It's the goaltending, it's the coach, it's a lack of leadership. I mean, I didn't see any adjustments. I mean, I've been saying this for the past 2 years to fire Dave Hakstall. Okay? I'm asking Ron Hextall, as a Flyers fan. I've been a Flyers fan for a long time. Okay? Okay? Don't you fucking understand? We're asking you, as a fan, to fire Dave Hakstall. I'm not the only one that feels about this. Okay, I have other Flyers. I have other Flyers fans that feel the exact same way to fire Dave Hakstall. Okay? I mean, I know that the Eagles are on right now. I mean, they're losing 12-0 in the second quarter of the game, but I feel that I need to make a video of the Flyers because we're not a because we're not a rebuild team for the Flyers. People, I've been hearing this on talk radio, this summer. Oh, the Flyers are going to rebuild. They're going to be tough to beat. Well, the hell they are. They're playing like shit. They're not a rebuild team. The Buffalo Sabres are a much better team than the Flyers are. Okay? I mean, if the Flyers continue to play like this, and if Dave Hakstol is still behind the bench, you're not going to be able to beat anyone. I'm sorry, but you're not going to. And not only Ron Hextall has to fire. Not only we're asking Ron Hextall to fire head coach Dave Hakstol. Get rid of some of the veteran players like Radko Gudas. He sucks too, and Andy McDonald. He's done nothing this season. I've been for the past 4 years get rid of Andrew McDonald. I mean, the lack of leadership sucks. Okay, we need to move the players on the first or second line. But I admire Claude Giroux. He's a great player, but he's got to do better as a captain. But I was glad that he was able to tie it. I mean, I was glad to see Claude Giroux break the record of Brian Propp. But you got to do more than that. Okay, you got to score more goals. Wayne Simmons, Jake Voracek, Sean Couturier, they have to score more goals too. You know what really pisses me off? When Anderson, what's his name, who scored the hat trick last night? Andreas Johnson. He scored the hat trick last night against the Flyers. And then of course John Tavares, he scored. And for the Buffalo Sabres, who else has been doing well? Jeff Skinner. Why didn't the Flyers get Jeff Skinner? But I will say in the future that Carter Hart will hopefully be our future goaltender. Just hope we get. Hopefully we can get Carter Hart at some point. Whether it's after the All-Star break or next season. But listen. I love the Flyers. I still care about them. I'm always going to be a Flyers fan, whether if it's great times or worse times. I'm still going to watch every game because I just want to prove. I just want to prove to all you YouTubers that I'm still a real fan of the Philadelphia Flyers. Okay. Win or lose, I'm always going to be there for you. Win or lose. Okay. But Ron Hextall has to grow a set of balls and fire Dave Hakstol and move and get rid of some of the veteran players and get some healthy young kids out there. I mean, look at Jim Rutherford. He's going back to 2015. Jim Rutherford has fired Mike Johnson and hired Mike Sullivan behind the bench. And look at the Pittsburgh Penguins. They won 2 Stanley Cups, for God's sakes, back to back. This is bullshit. What Ron Hextall is doing, and the goaltenders. Get rid of Michael Neuwirth. He's every time Michael Neuwirth plays, he gets hurt. I mean, what does he have? Soft ribs? It seems like every time you put him on the ice, he collapses or gets hurt. I don't fucking understand. Brian Elliott, him too. I mean, he's hurt. And you know what? I think also another thing about Ron Hextall, he made a big ass mistake by getting rid of Steve Mason. I would have kept Steve Mason instead of I would have kept Steve Mason, and then and with me I would have traded Michael Neuwirth. Yeah, well, I'll never forget in 1997 when Ron Hextall was the goalie. He, we got swept by the Detroit Red Wings. Oh yeah, I watched the game. I don't forget stuff like that. Going back to 1997, I was in high school. I don't forget. But Mike, I don't hate. Look, I like Ron Hextall, but he's doing a half-assed job as a GM for the Flyers. And he was good. He was good as a goaltender, but during the postseason when we had Peter Laviolette back in 2010, Michael Leighton. I think he did a better job against the Chicago Blackhawks. And if you would have asked me what coach would I rather have for the Flyers, well, I would like to have Daryl Sutter, Mark Recchi, or Joel Quenneville. I think Joel Quenneville, I think he might be able to get the job done as a GM. He has a different voice. He's a 3-time Stanley Cup champion. And Daryl Sutter, he's a 2-time Stanley Cup champion too. And I'd be happy with Mark Recchi. Behind the bench, he's NHL experience. But I gotta tell you, Dave Hakstol is a losing coach, and that bastard has to go. He really does. He's a losing coach, and he's a loser. He's not going to get the job done. If Dave Hakstol sticks around, the Flyers are going to fall apart. We're going to, you might as well be dead last. I'm sorry, but that's how I feel. That's how I feel about Dave Hakstol. He's a losing coach. And if this continues to develop, I don't know if they'll have any fans coming to the Wells Fargo Center and watch the games. He's a losing coach. Okay, the Flyers are going to fail if this continues. Also another thing I need to bring up here is the Flyers could win 2 games and then lose the next 4 games, and then win another game and then lose the next 5. I mean, I'm sorry, but this is bullshit. It really is. It's it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. It's what it comes down to for the Flyers. It's I got to tell you, I'm upset, and I'm real disappointed in Ron Hextall. I thought you were better than that. You have to with Ron Hextall, he has to grow a set of balls and get rid of Dave Hakstol and get rid of Michael Neuwirth and bring in a young goaltender. I would rather, I like Anthony. I like Alex Lyon, but he had a horrible night against the Buffalo Sabres on Thanksgiving Eve. But Kyle Pickard is another one. He's Jekyll and Hyde. He does great in one game, and then he shits his bed. That's what the Flyers did last night. They shit their bed big time against the Toronto Maple Leafs. 6-0. That's sad. Very sad. It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing what you're doing to us here. I'm very upset and real disappointing. I'm very disappointed. And it's embarrassing. Okay? It's pathetic. You know how many people came up to me a couple of days ago and said to me, Mark, the Flyers are pathetic. I'm like, yeah. You don't need to remind me about that. I know the Flyers are a pathetic team. Okay? Okay. You know what? We could forget about the fucking playoffs this year. Okay? So, forget it. And the Eagles are another one. I mean, it's do or die for the Eagles today against the Giants. They have to win today too. But and the Sixers lost their home game on Black Friday. But I think the Sixers will bounce back. But you got the Philadelphia Wings coming up on December 15th. But all in all, I still had a good time, a great time last night at the Lehigh Valley Phantoms game at PPL Center. Always a good time there. I like their facility. But happy Thanksgiving to everybody. Happy Thanksgiving, happy Black Friday, and Thanksgiving weekend, I should say. So I hope everybody's having a good Thanksgiving weekend. Despite for the Philadelphia Flyers, but I'm almost 20 minutes into my Flyers video because I just had a lot to get off my chest here. I know the Eagles are on, and I know people are going to say, why aren't you watching the Eagles game? Well, because right now I have the house to myself, and I feel that this would be a good time for me to make a Flyers video. So here I am, making the Flyers video, and but hey, we'll see. But look, I'm not going to hold my breath for the Flyers. Okay. It's disappointing. Disappointing. It's not easy to appease everyone. It really isn't. But damn it, Kyle Pickard or Alex Lyon, you got to do a better job. Making saves as a goalie. And we'll see if Anthony Stolarz gets the job done for the next game when they play the Ottawa Senators. That'll be the next game, and or the Pittsburgh Penguins for their first time at 7 o'clock next Saturday. But you know what? I'm not. You know what? I don't expect the Flyers. You know, whatever happens for the Flyers. Okay, I'm not. You know, the Flyers are. Let me tell you. I'll tell you something else about the Flyers. They are no more than a 500 team. Okay, they're not a good team. Okay, the Flyers. I think the Flyers will be a 500 team, but they're not going to be any more than that. So that's all. So I'm already 21 minutes in this video. I had a lot to say. I'm disappointed in my Flyers, and I got to say that I'm disappointed in Ron Hextall, and I'm even disappointed in the Flyers organization right now because they're not doing a good job making those moves. But especially for somebody that's been a Flyers fan for so long. I mean, I have buddies of mine who's been a Flyers fan since the 70s, and they know what it's like. They saw the Stanley Cup in 1974 and 75. Well, that's 43 years ago. But it's not our year. Not our year. But all right, everybody. Thanks as always for giving me your time to hear me out about the Flyers. We'll see. So, all right. Well, take care, everybody, and I'll see you in my next video. All right. Bye bye.